I remember all the recruiters' names that told me no. I remember all the Elite 11 guys that got chosen over me. So I remember all that stuff. I keep a mental log of it.
Well, it's official. Joe Burrow is leading the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl against the LA Rams. The results of this past weekend's championship game were a total upset. The Bengals had an extraordinary game over the Kansas City Chiefs in a true nail-biter that brought the Bengals from the worst team in the NFL to Super Bowl challengers. The 25-year-old is holding nothing back as he races to the top with his team by his side. And it's no wonder why he's a crowd favorite. His ostentatious and likable attitude means people can't help but love him. In the space of 2 years, he completely reshaped his team's future. And now, in February, he could entirely reroute the course of both his team and football history. As part of our Super Bowl series, we're covering Joe Burrow, the star quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. That being said, I'd love to hear your suggestions for future videos, so tell us who you'd like to see on Where Are They Now by commenting down below. And please don't forget to like this video for more content just like it. Joseph Burrow was born in Iowa to a football family. His father, Jim Burrow, is a former football player and coach whose career lasted over 40 years. So it's no wonder that Joe himself will be introduced to the sport at a very young age. Joe himself was born in Iowa while his father was on staff for the Iowa State Cyclones, a varsity team. Apparently, the athletic lineage doesn't end with his father. Joe's grandmother in the 1940s set a Mississippi State record with an 82-point game in basketball. His grandfather was also a varsity basketball player, and his two older brothers also played football in Nebraska. Joe was born with a history of competitive sports achievements running through his veins. Unlike his father and brothers, who are all defense, Joe started as a quarterback in youth football teams to fill a position. The family moved around a lot for his father's job before settling in the Plains, Ohio, where Joe attended high school. He joined the school's team and led them to 3 straight playoff appearances and the school's first 7 playoff victories in school history. His high school career was so successful that he was awarded the state's Mr. Football Award and the Gatorade Player of the Year as a senior in 2014. He was also an extremely successful basketball player, and he was named first team All-State at point guard in his senior year. He was recruited by Ohio State in 2014 to play football, a specification that is needed because he was also in the runner-up for being in varsity basketball instead. There's no denying this guy is insane at sports, and his career hasn't even begun yet. While in Ohio State, for some reason, Burrows got totally snubbed by his team. He was redshirted in his first year, meaning that he wasn't allowed to play because they wanted to lengthen the amount of time that he was legally allowed to play for the team. Joe would then spend 2 years as a backup for the starter quarterback, and he only played in 10 games. Then he was snubbed as starting quarterback for his 3rd year, when the backup typically usurps the graduating starter. This decision to keep Joe on the sidelines led him to make the decision to transfer to Louisiana State University in 2018. While at LSU, he was immediately named the starting quarterback. He won his team an insane game with a buzzer-beater touchdown that pulled LSU to the victory of 22-21. This move won him the SEC Offensive Player of the Week award, a big deal for the first game that Burrow has completed in school since moving to LSU. Joe Burrow did so well in his varsity football career that he set several records, including records for single-season touchdowns and most completed passes during one game. He was also featured several times over the span of his varsity career in the Offensive Player of the Week award. In December 2019, Burrow was awarded the 2019 Heisman Trophy, which is a super big deal trophy that is awarded annually to the most outstanding player in the entirety of college football in the USA. He beat out his runner-up by more than 1,800 votes, totally blasting him out of the water. It is the largest margin in the history of the award. In his acceptance speech, Joe pointed to the rampant poverty and food insecurity that affected his hometown. His highlight of the issues in his hometown inspired over $450,000 to be donated to local food banks from over 13,000 donors. And that isn't the only award he's won that year, although it's definitely the biggest. He won 6 other game awards for his achievements in varsity. His decorated career in college football wouldn't be over either, as in his last year of studies during the 2019 Peach Bowl, Burrow accounted for 29 of the 39 pass attempts and 7 touchdowns to go along with his rushing touchdown in the victory of 63-28. His 8 total touchdowns in the game broke the bowl game record, and analysts have called his performance one of the greatest in college football history. Some have even called it a masterpiece as he dominated the field and pulled his team to absolute unquestioning victory. While celebrating the monumental victory to this game, he instantly became a fan favorite with a photo of him smoking a cigar going viral. He's pretty funny, and his laid-back attitude after destroying the competing team meant that fans have endeared themselves to him since even before the start of his professional career. Now the 25-year-old can officially start the beginning of his championship career, and what better way than through his last game. Burrow was drafted as the 2020 #1 pick by the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals only had the option to draft Joe Burrow because they were considered the worst team in the league, with a historically awful playoff record. In his rookie year transitioning to being a quarterback for the Bengals, Joe did pretty well, but his season was cut short when he tore 2 ligaments in a game against the Washington football team. Luckily though, in this season, Joe's prowess on the field is extremely apparent. Despite his team being, quote, a franchise so often plagued with heartbreaking losses, Burrow has shown no signs of being bogged down by that history, leading his team in the first postseason run. In a true underdog story, the Bengals have gone in the span of 1 season from being considered one of the worst teams in the NFL to now having just beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a bid to compete for the Super Bowl in February. The championship game that the Bengals played against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday was riveting to say the least. The team left fans on the edge of their seats as each team was neck and neck with one another in the frustrating quarters. Joe Burrow left a furious second-half comeback that set the team at a tie with one another, forcing an overtime. With only 9 minutes left on the overtime clock, a field goal was kicked that propelled the formerly worst NFL football team into victory with 27-24. Quote, "It's a special team that's capable of doing special things. We've said that from the get-go, whether people believed us or not. We believed, so we're not surprised," says Coach Zach Taylor, who was in elementary school the last time the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. When Burrow and LSU beat that game back in 2019, the one that led to the cigar photo, the team's defensive tackle, Tyler Shelvin, carried Joe off the field on his shoulder. And in a very sweet demonstration between teammates, when Shelvin was drafted by the Bengals in the 2021 draft, he once again got to pick up Burrow and parade him around on his shoulder after their championship victory. There are tons of fan theories about who's going to win this year's Super Bowl, and honestly, it's anyone's guess at this point. Joe Burrow is an extremely talented young quarterback. He's only 25 and he's just barely begun his career in football, and he's already led his team from the dumps up to the biggest football arena there is. Despite that, he's competing against Matthew Stafford of the LA Rams, a seasoned veteran with an extremely accomplished career. These players have stacked records and their teams are fierce competitors with these quarterbacks at their side leading the way. This is the second Super Bowl matchup between quarterbacks who were selected as #1 overall in their years in the NFL draft. Neither of them have won a Super Bowl yet, so they're both hungry for the victory ring. Quote, "It took Stafford 13 years to get to this stage. Burrow is there in his second season. Which quarterback will be more composed on the stage? It's a true toss-up." Even though sports prediction sites seem to think that the LA Rams are a surefire win this year, a lot of fans believe it's going to be the young blood Bengals to take the crown. Joe Burrow is a GOAT, and I can't wait to see how it plays out on the main stage as this beast of a man goes up against a seasoned veteran in a game that is undoubtedly, no matter who wins, going to make football history. Who do you think will prove victorious in the 2022 Super Bowl game in February? Now that we've gone over both teams' quarterbacks, which one's story do you think resonates the most? Let us know in the comments down below, and please don't forget to subscribe to this page for more content just like it. I've been your host Sierra. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Where Are They Now? See you next time.